Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today, Thursday morning edition. We've got a lot to get to, and we're going to be doing it with S5's JK. Oh, good morning, JK. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Marsh. I can't complain. Got some Thursday night football action returning tonight. I'm never gonna complain about that. And then it's just nice to be back in the studio to be recording some SimWorld today.
We do have a lot to get to, Thursday night football preview included. We're also going to take a look at SE preseason All-Americans. Before we get to our first one, we're going to do a little EM giveaway today during the show, a little sweepstakes. So wait for the prompt, mention what you think of it, and we're going to do a little randomized, somebody get some EMs. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to start off with the Carolina Panthers, who have decided to go with the red rifle back under center for the Carolina Panthers, says they have benched number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. Bryce Young's not had the best of starts to his career, JK. Should he just be out of Carolina?
I think that
they start Dalton.
I think for the Panthers, it's a very complex situation. Bryce Young has only started 18 games in his career. I think it's way too small of a sample size to be like, this kid doesn't have it. I think he's a really talented kid. He's only 23 years old. We saw what he's capable of out at Alabama. But we know what the Panthers have done to quarterbacks. Like, they're honestly where quarterbacks' careers go to die. We saw it with Baker Mayfield. We saw it with Sam Darnold. We're seeing it now with Bryce Young, where these quarterbacks didn't look good in Carolina, and as soon as they left, we saw career resurgences. I think Bryce Young is talented. I think he's been set up for failure at every turn throughout his SWFL career. So I'm a fan of the New York Giants. If they decided to abandon the route of drafting a quarterback like a Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck, I would not be upset at all if they went and tried to trade for Bryce Young. I think Brian Dable could get a lot out of him.
So I wouldn't say the Carolina Panthers is the place where quarterbacks go to die, because here's why. They suck. It's not a good football team, man. They shouldn't have put a quarterback in the position that they did without an offensive line around him. This is a story as old as time. I thought that the way the Cleveland Browns handled their access to number 1 overall picks put Baker Mayfield in a better situation, and even then it wasn't good. But why do we see young quarterbacks have success in the SWFL? It's twofold. One, they're good. CJ Stroud's a better quarterback right now than Bryce Young is. The second piece is you actually have pieces around them. And I think the Carolina Panthers, as currently orchestrated, absolutely gave the keys to Bryce Young of a car that's missing a transmission, that's on 4 spare tires that are all about to pop, that has a check engine light on with about 5 warning signs telling you that this is not a good vehicle. That's the Carolina Panthers. Their best wide receiver is Adam Thielen. Miles Sanders is 2 years past his prime. Their offensive line is atrocious. They have no weapons, and their defense is probably mediocre, but you wouldn't know better because it's 3 and out every damn possession for the Panthers on offense. Moving to Randy Dalton as your starting quarterback should have been what they did last year. Bryce Young never should have been under center as a rookie. This team was not built for him to be under center and take his lumps. This team needs a complete reset. They did not get the number 1 overall pick because Bryce Young was under quarterback. They got the number 1 overall pick again, and that went very conveniently to the Chicago Bears because this team is awful. This team has a roster that is not built to contend in the SWFL. There's certainly good players on it, I'm sure. But as far as Bryce Young goes, it's going to be difficult for him to find a spot that is a team that's drafting near the top. The New York Giants are not going to be taking, in my opinion, a flyer on Bryce Young when they're going to be in position to take a Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, or Carson Beck. Your opinions of them aside. Quarterbacks or quarterback-needy teams, they find a quarterback as early as they can, and if no one's available, that's when they go the Baker Mayfield route. I still think there's a future for him. I don't think that future is in Carolina. I think it's a disservice to keep him on this roster because the number of times you're going to go back to him, unless they're playing a long game and they say we're actually going to build a roster here. I think it's time for him to move on to an organization that has a better built team, but also with a runway to get him back to the starting quarterback position.
Not really sure where that's going to be, but definitely wishing him the best because we know that he's talented. And a lot of it is the situation. You can't set up your franchise quarterback or the guy you proclaim to be your franchise quarterback for failure.
Well, they successfully accomplished that part of setting him up for failure. All right, let's head to SimWorld U, where the SP preseason All-Americans were announced, voted on by a 60 media panel. And that SP All-American team is as follows: Jermaine McElmore, Jamison Johnson, Cooper Kingy-Cross, Cooper Flagg, and Jalen Snow, with the one man on the outside looking in, Dominic Bianco, grabbing 30 votes. He's your sixth man, if you will. JK, reactions to this group? Anyone left off? Anyone you'd sub out? Your opinion here.
Surprised to see Lace Darius Outlaw get more All-American votes than Trey Turner. I'm notably very high on what Trey Turner is capable of. I thought he had a great freshman season at Tennessee, led them pretty far into hoops hysteria. I like Lace Darius Outlaw. I think he's a very good player, but I'm high on Trey Turner as a top 7, potentially top 10, potentially top 7 pick in the upcoming SWBA draft. If you see a kid at 19, 18 years old shoot the rock the way that Trey Turner does and the way that he runs the floor for Tennessee, I think he kind of did deserve his flowers a bit, but I understand why they went with a guy like Jalen Snow. And I also find it intriguing how close it was between Jalen Snow and Dominic Bianco, when I think Jalen Snow is, I'd say, a good margin better.
Well, they did let me vote 4 times. That's why Ireland Early's on there, baby. Look, Jalen Snow, I don't think it's marginally better than Dominic Bianco. This is the other, I want to caveat this because we always do this around awards, teams, whatnot. If you say somebody got snubbed, you got to say who they're coming out for, right? It'd be very easy to say Trevor got snubbed. I can't believe he only got 14 votes. He should have got more, because I agree with you. The fact that Lace Darius Outlaw got double makes me think that they just pulled 60 media members in Memphis to figure out who the heck they think is going to do it and completely avoided Knoxville, Tennessee altogether if they possibly could, because there's no way that Lace Darius Outlaw is 2 times better in terms of vote getting than Trey Turner. But what we want to do is we want to say, oh, so this person shouldn't have made it, and then we don't say who should have made it. Trey Turner should have made it over Jalen Snow. Trey Turner is a better basketball player than Jalen Snow. He did more last season for Jalen Snow. He produced more on the floor. I think he's going to be a better player this season. I think Jalen Snow probably has a higher upside in SWBA, but I don't think it's by much. But I still think Trey Turner would be the better pick here. But that's what we want to do. But to your point, I think the biggest surprise to me is the number of votes Lace Darius Outlaw got compared to Trey Turner. Do I think Lace Darius Outlaw didn't deserve 28 points? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm agreeing with you on, though, is that Trey Turner is not 14 votes less than Lace Darius Outlaw. I'm also surprised that we don't get N.E. Henrik Vekic on this list, who was obviously the number 2 man alongside Trey Turner in Tennessee. Vekic was a fantastic big last season. He was incredibly impactful. I think he's on par with Lorenzo Phenom. He's just sharing the offensive workload. Phenom last season was not. That's why he could score 50 points in the season opener. But the fact that we don't even get a single vote for Henrik Vekic, I think, is a disservice to what he is as a basketball player. Is he top 5? No, he's not top 5. But he's not any worse than guys like Lamarian Sherwood out of Iowa, Jace McGez out of Oklahoma, Jahi Hobson out of VCU. Henrik Vekic is better than all those guys, and he doesn't get a single vote, which I think is a surprise. All right, we're going to do an EM giveaway. We mentioned it at the top of the show. We couldn't give it away at the beginning of what we were going to do, so now we're bringing it in right here. It's very simple. This is all you got to do. You're going to put in the number 5 so we know what you're talking about. And then you're going to put in the one player that you think was either snubbed or shouldn't have been on the preseason All-American team. It can be votes. You can go the Henrik Vekic route. You could say Henrik Vekic didn't get any votes, and he should have. You could say Trey Turner should be top 5. You could say Cooper Flags to Austin shouldn't be on there. I don't care, but we want to hear from you. So number 5, punch it in, and then put in what you got. We're going to do a random giveaway. We'll do some EMs, obviously. We'll figure out the amount, but it won't be an insignificant amount. Let's go with that. All right, that is our first 2 topics. We're going to our third, and we're going back to the gridiron because it is Thursday Night Football tonight, and it is a doozy. It is 2 teams squaring off in the AFC East, not the Buffalo Bills, not the Miami Dolphins, but the New England Patriots taken to the gridiron to face off against the New York Jets. I don't think I could imagine a better 2 teams to play on Thursday Night Football if one of them is going to be the New England Patriots. JK, big AFC East showdown. We got the second straight week of an AFC East showdown on Thursday Night Football. It's almost like the league likes a certain division over others. Maybe that's why Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls. Your takeaways or what you're looking forward to tonight in Thursday Night Football?
Marsh, I'm anticipating a very slow offensive performance. We are going to witness 2 of the better defenses in the league and 2 offenses that really haven't been super privy to putting up a lot of points this year. I think we're going to see a defensive grunge match. I think we're going to see like a 13-10 ball game. It's definitely not going to be pretty, but it's going to be old-fashioned football. I think Bryce Hall and Garrett Wilson I think Garrett Wilson especially needs to be more involved for the New York Jets. He was pretty solid against San Francisco, but was very quiet last week against Tennessee. And I think if the Jets really have these 2 dynamic young offensive players in Bryce Hall and Garrett Wilson, you're going to win games the more you play through them. As for New England, Jacoby Brissett's been pretty solid. I like what they've done so far in the Gerard Mayo era. And now they have their first primetime game with Gerard Mayo. So I'm interested to see how they're going to keep this Jets offense at bay.
Well, I think calling the New England Patriots an elite defense, or I can't remember the exact term you used, but to consider them a top-level defense,
good defense.
It exists. They're 1-1. It's a surprise 1-1, but this is a must-win game for the New York Jets, not only because they are the better football team, but because they can't afford to go 1-2 to start the season with the New England Patriots ahead of them. You've got the Buffalo Bills, who are undefeated. You've got the Miami Dolphins, who are 1-1 ahead of you. But they're without a quarterback, and they're going with Tyler Huntley moving forward. That is a recipe to pave the way for the Jets to be atop this division or competing for the top of the division with the Buffalo Bills. This is must-win football for a Jets team that has championship aspirations. You mentioned all the weapons they have. They have to get rolling. This team has to win this football game because the New England Patriots, ever since they won their first game of the season, are playing with house money. Okay, this is a team that people thought might go 7-8 weeks. There were bets being placed on this group. Area, I don't know. Places that were considering the Patriots to be the last to get their first win of the season, and they go out and they beat the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 1. This is already a successful season for the Pats. Win Week 1, overtime loss Week 2. They are competitive. Jacoby Brissett is proving to be a viable starter, if nothing more than that, which is nothing wrong with that in the SWFL. But the Yorks are not the game of moral wins. And the New England Patriots, I wouldn't say that's what they're aiming for, but a competitive season for them is going to be a good season. The Jets have Super Bowl nations. They have to win this game. They have to get to 2-1. They have to position themselves to be near or at the top of the AFC East through 3 weeks because to continue to be playing football games. The New York Jets are not. Or excuse me, the New England Patriots are not. If they come out and win this football game, the Patriots, I think there's going to be serious questions status of the New York Jets because this is not a game that they can afford to lose, JK.
I'll agree with you. I think the Aaron Rodgers era in New York has not gone off to a swimming start. They get blasted by the 49ers. They nearly lose to Tennessee in Tennessee. This is a game you need to win. You said they have championship aspirations. I disagree with you on that. I think they have legitimate playoff aspirations.
No. Their
I don't think the Jets are contenders. I think they're a good playoff roster.
That is not what I said. I didn't say that I thought they were contenders. They have aspirations. You and I don't get to choose what their aspirations are. They think they're a championship team. When you have Aaron Rodgers, you think you're a championship team. That's what the New York Jets are. It's not a matter of...
But this is 40-year-old Rodgers off a torn Achilles.
When did I say that's not true? I just said they didn't think they can win a Super Bowl. That's what I said. That's aspirations. That is a internal belief. I didn't make their aspirations. They made their aspirations. That's why they went and got Aaron Rodgers. He can still be a Super Bowl winning champion or quarterback if the offensive weapons play well. That's what the Jets need the rest of their weapons to do, Aaron Rodgers included. I'm not saying they are a Super Bowl winning team. I'm saying that's what they believe they are. They can't be what they believe they are if they lose to the New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. I think Robert Saleh's job could be in serious jeopardy if they lose tonight.
It probably is that they've been playing in general. All right, we've got that's our show actually. We are coming back tomorrow morning with Rick Blaze. We'll recap what I can only think to be a fantastic Thursday night football game. We will look forward to your submissions. Reminder, put those into the Discord thread. One lucky winner will be getting some EMs. And don't make it be one person that submits it, and then that lucky winner is that person. I mean, come on, that's just lame. So put them in there, and we will be doing an EM giveaway of a not insignificant amount. We'll be back tomorrow morning with Rick Blaze to recap it all. JK, as always, pleasure to have you on. Thank you for joining. Great talking with you. We'll see you again next week. Thank you all for tuning in here to SimWorld Today on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.